We're back with some Infinity the game. Man, let me tell you what, Infinity is really knocking it out of the park. Showcased all this stuff at Gen Con here coming up, and man, it's just incredible stuff. There's expansions coming out for this game, but this is their latest two-player game. It's going to feature Ariadne against the forces of Aleph, so it's a little bit different from the two-player starters we've seen. And remember, there was the JSA sectorial army they put out right around Adepticon time. I think that was actually the big Adepticon release there as well. So Corvus Belli is becoming more and more involved in the community here in the States, coming to our events and participating, because as well they should. They've got a great game here. The thing I love about Infinity is it's a kind of that near future brutal combat kind of system where you can really specialize. You can really get in there and have fun with the miniatures and paint them all up and have specialized bases that match the places you're playing. Like this is the Appleton kind of area here for the Aleph guys in here, so you could get specialized bases or sculpt them whatever you want. I think Micro Art Studios sells a specific line of Infinity bases for these models, so lots of opportunities out there to really get immersive into like the whole human sphere thing here. And then look at these models, like incredible looking models, so much room to really have a blast with the hobby. A lot of flat areas, so they obviously favor using the airbrush, but you don't have to. I mean, you can still use the conventional techniques and stuff like that. There is the Ariadne. Now these are featuring there's there's a lot of interesting backdrop to these folks. They're basically kind of out of time with the whole human sphere kind of thing, so they're more rustic. Their weapons are more what we would consider something we would see today. These are the Russians, or what has become of the Russians. They're Kazakhs. So each one of these factions is going to come with some really cool kind of line troopers and some specialists, and then you got some bigger bots or some bigger units here too that are way more specialized, which is pretty neat with it. Now the set itself, it's great for you and a buddy. $100 retail US. You can split it with your buddy, $50. Get into it, paint all this stuff up, play, and then decide if you want to expand or want to go with some sort of faction or something like that. 14 minis, plus you get the War Driver, Mercenary Hacker limited edition figure, so 15 there. The limited edition dice, maybe one day we'll do a how to play here on the channel. They have a really interesting D20 mechanic of how it all plays. All the tokens, all the measuring sticks, the templates, all that stuff you need, the scatter, the explosion thing, template. Then you've got the terrain, and the terrain's actually really cool too. I didn't realize it at first when we did the first video, but somebody mentioned to me, you put one of the unit boxes in there, and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not notice that? That's amazing design on their part. You get this playmat poster too. There's a double-sided poster in here. It can double as the Appleton kind of area environment right there. It's just really neat. It's very immersive. It comes with the rule book written in the different major languages, I guess, the folks that play this. But yeah, hey, let's just run it down. So cardboard order and state markers, circular template right there, cardboard ruler, like I said, everything you need. You don't even need a tape measure, but it would be super helpful. 3 20-sided Ariadne and 3 20-sided Alephs. And then the exclusive figure, the different Aleph starters right here, and the scenery pack, along with all the Aleph models right here. Oh no, that's the scenery. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. There's the Ariadne and there's the Aleph, so it's all of this right here. Oh my goodness. Plus the full color booklet. So everything is contained right in this box. Let's take a closer look. I mean, realistically, the out-of-box experience for this is actually pretty cool, besides just the white nondescript box, but then you have the whole sleeve there. So coming inside of it is the little tactics manual here, the little basically codex, like how to play it. Now this is American UK, and then on the back you've got the Spanish version right here as well. So a whole lot of everything in here. It's all very similar. Then you've got all the miniatures laid out in their own little compartments. So after you assemble them and put them together, this is actually, a big investment, having a little plastic tray in here to put your items into. Not even GW does this. So this is actually kind of a big thing with, their logo and everything, Corvus Belli, kind of stamped right into it. all of your extra parts right here, but of course you could, once you pop out your tokens and things, your tokens and everything can go right into here. Pull this out and you've got the terrain that comes in it too. So I'm going to pull all this stuff out. So here it is. So first off, you got the double-sided poster, which is a great display. If you already have a table, hey, hang up the poster. This thing is basically the same the cover of this right here, but on the back, you've got the playmat or the terrain. So if you don't need to lay this all out, then hey, easy game, easy life. You got a cool little poster that comes in it. Let me tell you, last time I got a poster from another company that came in to start, 0. I haven't. That's how often that happens right there. Then you've got 6 of the little kind of storage container, I guess container terrain right there, and we'll put one of those together. And 4 of the larger buildings. And like I said, these are designed to use the expansion boxes to put inside and make them a little bit more stronger. The dice and everything like that. Let's take a look at a couple of miniatures, and then I kind of want to transition into the rulebook because there's something in here to kind of, a lot of folks out there might not be used to working with metal, kind of like I was talking about in the last video, and I want to show you that as well. Metal is inherently different from plastic. So each one of the miniatures is going to come in a little plastic baggie. Sometimes there will be 2 baggies. Each one is going to have a little quality control ticket in here. So if you have an issue with anything, you can always refer to that in your correspondence and hopefully get the replacement part pretty quick. So like I said, all of these miniatures are metal. They're still using metal, which is great because it's going to give you a lot more detail than plastic will, believe it or not. So here's a couple examples of the miniatures in here. You can tell they are very well sculpted for the most part. Now you are going to have to remove some of the material here. Like this is a kind of what we used to call a slot, and this would go in a slot base, but now that really isn't quite the case here. But all of these parts here that you see, this is actually means that the model itself got a good fill. You can see that all of the detail, all the ribbing and all the vents and everything and all the lines in this little base right here are filled. And we know that got a good fill because all of these little extra pieces on the end means that the pewter went into the mold and then came out into the little nooks and crannies. They actually take a pin vise and drill into the mold. And that's how you know you got a good mold, which is really cool to see because, hey, we like good molds because that means we're going to get, a good, let's see, how does this go? Oop, upside down, obviously. Okay, so there is basically how it all goes together. Oops. She's got quite the head of hair there. But I mean, look at that detail. That's stuff that you generally can't do as well in plastic, right? And all of the uniform notches and marks, even the little strap over the sidearm is exquisitely done. Now you will have to clean these up using files and a probably X-Acto knife too, and you could use clippers to kind of get these parts off of right here. That actually works well sometimes. And then the detail on the rifle here, very, very small, but it is no slouch for detail whatsoever. Now when it comes to bigger parts, which I'm going to work with right here real quick, I just wanted to show you, we're not going to do a full-on tutorial on how to assemble these and things like that, because there's actually one in this rulebook. They kind of thought of everything. They gave us a little quick start. But long story short, all of these parts where the pewter is actually going to fill into the mold itself, you're going to want to remove these. And one of the easiest ways is to grab a file. Army Painter actually sells a kind of working with metal kit that is very, very affordable. It gets you this, some clippers, and I think an X-Acto blade. I think this is literally it right here for a very, very low price. So in addition to picking up the starter, you might want to consider that. The best way to trim all these extra pieces or even lines of flash is to go in the same direction, and you want to hold down and make sure you're going in the same plane. You're not grinding into it, but you're just going to go in the same direction until the little piece kind of flies off. And the reason you're going in the same direction is so that you don't actually serrate the part. Because if you go back and forth like you're buffing your nails, that actually serrates the part, and nobody wants that. So it's going to take a little while, and you want to make sure you don't breathe in this pewter dust, because that's actually super bad for you as well. But so always wear a little bit of respiratory protection there if you can, and just kind of work at it and get all those little nubs. And any extra mold lines, you can always very carefully, now I don't recommend doing what I do, but you can scrape like you're peeling an apple. You want to be super careful you don't slip and get that blade right into your thumb. I've done that more than once, and I've always said, I'm never gonna use my X-Acto blade like that again. What do? I use my X-Acto blade like that. So when it comes to those sort of things, don't be as stupid. Don't do as I do as I say, and protect yourself from all that. Once you get your models cleaned up and assembled, then it's time to jump into the rulebook. But another reason you should jump into the rulebook first is because it actually has a tutorial on how to do exactly what I just said there. How to clean up your miniatures using clippers, use a file as well, and scrape the mold lines away. There's all the material that you'll need. And of course, you'll need a little bit of glue to actually put them together. Oh, they do have slotted bases. Oh, okay, cool. I did not notice that. That is neat to know. We learned something. Oh, you have to, oh, okay. They do not come slotted. You have to punch them out. But that's all right. It's actually easy to do. You can kind of push it through if you want and dig out from the bottom the little slot if it's really necessary, if you don't feel like taking off the tab right there. But it actually gives the model a little bit more support if you do. Now, speaking of rulebooks, here it is right here. This is the English one. Now, it's got an index, which is huge. A lot of these type of publications don't have an index, which is kind of silly, but it's really cool to see. As far as the artwork is very, very engrossing. Like, there's some serious, a lot of folks are like, man, I'm just really into the background and the fluff, like all the art, all that near future kind of manga, almost like some sort of tech evolved manga is incredible. They have a lot of good, examples in here of how you issue orders, how you do things, how you move up, how you shoot, all that stuff. Specific missions in here, all sorts of different things that are really going to add up to give you that really cool first 6 games of Infinity in general. Full army point lists and stuff in here. It's just really cool. Like, it's only 46 pages, like either side, right? And then that's not even the rules. That a lot of this is like some ads and stuff at the end. So I think it's pretty neat. And then here is your punch outs for all of your blast templates and measuring sticks, your cover guide, all sorts of things like that. Very, very cool, very immersive little tome right here that comes with it for all this for $100. Now let's talk terrain, because I mean, what's the point of having a game if you don't at least A, have a friend, and B, have some terrain to play it on, right? You've got the playmat, $100. Like I said, $100. You got the playmat, you got the terrain. The only thing $100 doesn't get you is a friend. Unless, you buy it all yourself and you're like, hey, you're going to play this with me. Then you might have no shortage of friends all of a sudden. So these actually go together pretty easily. They're kind of pre-folded and pre-scored for you to put them together. But long story short, you're just going to fold the tabs on the bottom here. And these are going to fold down as well, and then they will actually notch. But the big thing to look out for is that these are actually going to kind of recess and fold down into it like this, right? So once you get all of that pre-folded, ready to go, and if you actually happen to have an expansion box sitting around, if this isn't your first Infinity Rodeo, that'll fit right in there, which I think is pretty neat. And then this will lock down. There's actually a little tab right there that you can see, and all of it will lock in. This tab actually gives it a little bit of structural integrity, even if you don't have one of those boxes. But it's definitely going to be something, once you make your first purchase, you're definitely going to want to start stacking them in here. And then the crates just go together very well as well, and you can put them on top of here. But man, let me tell you what. It's pretty much everything you need to get started here with the new Operation Coldfront. 15 miniatures, all the dice, the manuals, the miniatures, the dice. I mean, everything you need sans a friend to get started in the Infinity hobby, doing those near future skirmish level battles. So hopefully we will have more of these expansions here to show you all the great miniatures. Maybe we'll start painting some of them up, do some of the tutorials and such, because it's just a really cool, immersive kind of system here that, I think a lot of folks out there should definitely be aware of, or at least are aware of, but not sure how good the system and the game is. So Infinity via Corvus Belli has been around for 10 plus years now with no signs of slowing down. So now might be the time to jump in to this one here. So if you like these type of features and enjoy seeing some new games here on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.